My name is James Koshiba. I'm the co-founder and executive director of an organization called Kanu Hawaii. We are, as the name suggests, in Hawaii, in Honolulu. We're a statewide organization and sort of beyond the borders of our state, too. At the core of our mission is an effort to build social movement around the idea of Kuleana. And Kuleana is a Hawaiian word. It's a really special Hawaiian word. It has two meanings combined into one word. On the one hand, Kuleana suggests the idea of a right or a privilege, but it also suggests in the same word a sense of duty and obligation. And it's a wonderful word because I don't think there's a word like it in the English language that combines those two things, but the premise is that with any right or privilege comes a duty and an obligation. The reason why that word is so important to Kanu is because we try to promote what we call Kuleana-based activism. That is, getting involved with issues that you care about in a way that shows your willingness to take on some responsibility for addressing that issue. The way this started was with a group of friends and friends of friends. There was about 40 of us, and we were sort of on the younger side, ages 19 to 30 something. And we got together to talk about all the things that worried us about the future. And it was sort of an anxious time in our lives because we were starting careers or families or putting down roots here in Hawaii, or we decided to stay here if we grew up here. And so there were a lot of worries about what the community would look like a generation from now for our kids and our kids' kids. And those concerns kind of fell into three categories: environmental concerns, social and cultural concerns about kind of the spirit of Hawaii, and economic concerns, particularly Hawaii's dependence on far-off sources of food and fuel that put us at economic risk. When the conversation finished, the question was, okay, what is our responsibility? What are we going to do about all this stuff? And the group got stuck at that point because we weren't a particularly powerful or influential group. And so what we decided to do, instead of wrestle with these giant ideas in the abstract, was to go around the room, and there was literally a giant conference room with a table and 40 people sitting around it. And we decided we'd make commitments to each other, very specific things that we could do in our own lives or in our own spheres of control to address those big concerns that we talked about. And these commitments, they were all over the place. They were some people that cared about the environmental piece of the picture said, you know, I'm going to start recycling today, or I'm going to conserve, you know, water at home, or small, simple steps, very specific. Others made more ambitious pledges, like someone in the room that day said, I got to trade in my car, pretty soon I'm driving a minivan, I'm going to downsize it to a hybrid vehicle. But they weren't just environmental commitments, they were also sort of social and cultural commitments and economic commitments to buy local, find out which stores were acting in a responsible manner toward their employees and the environment, and shop there. But it turned out to be a pretty powerful experience for us to do that, to make commitments to each other and to be willing to be held accountable by the group. There are a couple reasons why it was an important experience for us. One is that it was really empowering to realize that even a small step by 40 people could make a significant impact. So we did a little bit of homework. As an example, we did a little bit of homework around one of the pledges that all 40 of us made together, and that was to conserve water at home. And the reason why that was an important issue is because when we talked about the worries part of things, climate change and its impact on fresh water supplies in Hawaii was a major concern. In fact, right now, as we're sitting here, there's a fight brewing on the island of Maui about water resources there, about whether to use it for agriculture and business, or and development, or whether to conserve it for stream flows and cultural uses. And so that was sort of the top of our minds. And so each one of us in that room committed to conserve water with some specific steps. We'd take a 2-minute shorter shower, and we'd turn off the tap whenever we were brushing our teeth and washing dishes instead of letting it run. And we calculated what the impact of that would be for 40 people, keeping with that over the course of a year. And it was close to 500,000 gallons of water we were saving. And in Hawaii, that's all potable water, that's all drinking water. And so that turned out to be enough drinking water to sustain a community of 2,000 people. So we essentially made it our mission after that to build a massive community of people that has shared the same experience of talking about their concerns and starting with themselves, making commitments to each other, being willing to be held accountable and lead each other by example. And that would be empowered by this sense of, okay, there's a group doing this with me and there's real impact to what we're about. And so what Kanu Hawaii is today is, it's a combination of kind of old-fashioned grassroots community education and outreach with an online community and set of tools. And everything online is designed to, as I said, replicate this experience of people starting with themselves, making a commitment to address an issue they care about, and then getting more deeply involved and also more connected to the group. And so what you'd see if you went to our website at kanuhawaii.org, one of the first things you'd see is dozens and dozens of commitments written by people. The diversity of commitments is the same as it was in that group of 40. They run the gamut from, I don't know if you can make this out, but I'm going to swear off a bottled water for a year and take a reusable container instead, to I'm going to attend a cultural event a month to learn about someone's culture different from my own. Some are very simple and specific and measurable, and others are more kind of creative and ambitious. Any commitment that has a measurable result, like the bottled water one's a good example. If you've joined the 1,500 other people doing it, you get a message here which says, here's the amount of trash we're keeping out of the landfill every year, here's how much less carbon dioxide we're emitting into the atmosphere because we don't have to produce those bottles anymore, here's how much money we're saving together. And again, the idea is to give people some real-time, instant feedback that what they're doing is making a difference, and to give them that sense of empowerment that we felt in that original group. We launched a little more than 18 months ago, February of 2008, and since then this number is a little behind schedule. There's about 8,500 members now. A member is just someone that's made a commitment, declared it publicly, and then has left themselves open to joining onto a campaign. They're spread across the islands, and one of the remarkable things is that about 2,000 of those 8,000 members are not in Hawaii. They're spread across 300 communities across the mainland and 12 different countries. And what we hear from those people is that the reason why they've joined Kanu is maybe they were a visitor and felt a connection to this place, maybe they went to school here or they're away at school, but they want to live island style wherever they are. And for those people to live island style means living with a consciousness of three things that ought to come naturally to island people. One is living sustainably, living within our means, the means of our natural resources, and being good stewards of those resources. The second is being compassionate to your neighbors, because on islands you're trapped together. No matter how different you are, race, ethnicity, differences of opinion, we have to get along with each other. And the third is that it pays to invest in the local self-reliance of our communities. In a selfish way, if there's ways that we can help other communities do this, I'd love to be a part of that conversation. The other thing I think that's still emergent from this effort is starting a conversation with a personal commitment and a sense of shared values does create a different kind of conversation. It sets a different tone for people to start with a commitment themselves first and then to jump into that conversation. And I think nationally, one of our challenges is that our politics and our civic spaces are really breaking down into super polarized, soundbite battles of ideology versus spaces where people can actually talk about nuance and feel safe to make their opinion known and do it in a way that's respectful of other people's opinions. Like that, we cannot lose that habit. And so I know other people out there are trying to create space for this conversation. And so the more we can partner up on that effort too, I think that'll be important. I wouldn't say that we've succeeded yet, but I do think that one success or one measure of progress for us is that we have been able to at least articulate the shared values and start talking about them in a way that pulls people together and inspires people to action.